We're now joined by GB News presenter Bev Turner, who's also live for us from Washington, D.C. Very good morning to you, Bev. And for our viewers and our listeners who are watching this morning, perhaps not familiar with Charlie Kirk, who was he as a man? What did he stand for? And what do you think his killing stands for in terms of free speech? It sounds as though we might be struggling to connect with Bev, actually.
But, of course, Charlie had millions of followers on social media, particularly with young people right across the pond, actually, people here in Britain and in the United States. And I think what struck a lot of people about Charlie was that he would happily have a debate with people who disagreed with him. He would actively invite people on university campuses who had polarising views to him to come up to the stage and debate him in front of thousands of students, and, crucially, respecting the views of the opposite side.
Which is an art that I think we've lost over time. I mean, recently he was here in Britain. He was debating at the Oxford Union and did so, engaging with people who were on the opposite side of the political spectrum to him on controversial issues, but always did so, as you say, with so much respect and with manners as well.
Yeah, and of course, at the end of all this, it shouldn't really be about right or left or anything like that. This was a father with two young children.
Yeah, and of course our thoughts are with his wife and the two children that he's very sadly left behind.
Well, let's take a listen to what President Trump had to say on the values of free speech in the US following the killing of Charlie Kirk.
Radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died. The values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before.
Well, we're now joined by GB News presenter Bev Turner. Morning to you, Bev. And you can hear from President Trump speaking last night, describing the love he had for Charlie Kirk. This was a huge character on the political stage in the US, and such a loss.
Such a loss, Ellie, and actually it was Donald Trump who announced the passing of Charlie Kirk yesterday. Here in America, the news was breaking about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're 5 hours obviously behind you. It's 3 o'clock in the morning now. And the groups that a lot of people, the political groups, the WhatsApp groups which circulate here in Washington, the talk initially was that this incident had happened. There'd been a shooting. Videos were being passed around very quickly. There was optimism. There was messages that he'd had a pulse on site, that he'd been taken to hospital. He was in a critical condition. But very much the political family here in Washington, D.C., and make no mistake about it, the Republicans in this city act like a family. They behave like a family. They are very happy with the way this presidency is going in America. And Charlie Kirk was a member of that family here. And the news was broken, as I say, by Donald Trump, and immense sadness here from all sides of the political spectrum. It has been heartening to see people like Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, a Democrat, of course, also expressing his condemnation of the killing. It will be a developing story as America wakes up this morning, because, as you've been hearing from Ben Leo, the killer has not been apprehended. And that is a cause of great concern, because as every hour that goes by, the likelihood of finding this person, there is unverified, goes away. There's unverified footage of somebody perhaps running from a roof. Of course, in this age of social media, when there were hundreds, possibly thousands of students on that campus with phones out, there is a thought that maybe somebody has caught something on their camera roll that they don't realise how significant it is, and the FBI here are calling for people to submit any footage that might be relevant, because this morning there is a widow and there are two young children who've lost their father. And because Charlie was such a big presence online, on social media, there is hours of footage of him talking passionately, fearlessly, debating other people across the world, putting out his position, his conservative Christian position, fearlessly, shamelessly. And so these clips are now, of course, making their way around the world. They have a different poignancy. And for me, the ones which have been particularly moving are of his wife, Erica. There's a clip online, I retweeted it last night, of her announcing Charlie onto the stage at an event. And she talks with such immense warmth and love and admiration for her husband. And she said, "I want to introduce my husband to you. He is a force of nature." And it's the most moving footage. And this morning, she has to wake up knowing that that remarkable young man, 31, has died. And it really is a very divisive issue here as well, of course. There is also footage online. Some of the content I just found the most saddening, which is of young students across America who were put a microphone in front of them yesterday afternoon to be told that Charlie Kirk had died. And the response was, "Good, he deserved to die. I didn't like his opinions." And what a tragic state of events that when you've got a young person who say, "I didn't like his opinions and therefore he deserved to die." We've got a problem with some of the youth across the world who have listened to this idea that you can't have certain opinions, particularly, you might say, politically right-leaning Christian opinions, traditional conservative opinions, and they think that that is a reason for somebody to be killed. We're just hoping here that the police and the FBI, the intelligence services, find whoever committed this appalling crime here in America. But Charlie Kirk's shoes are very, very big, possibly impossible to fill. So we will keep you posted, of course, here from America as this story evolves today.
Live from Nashville in the United States. Scotty, I want to say good morning to you, but clearly it isn't a good morning. Is this a moment perhaps of political jeopardy in the United States? Of course, it's a country already deeply polarised.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, we as journalists are trained to be professional in some of the most horrible experiences. People look to us to keep our composure. But this story right here, especially for someone who's been as long of an activist, not an activist, but those that have been following journalism and conservative journalism, this is one where not only does it tear at my professionalism, but also tears at me personally. Personally, Charlie was an amazing man, a longtime friend. I was there when he was first getting started, before he could even buy a drink at the bar. He definitely was one of those always optimistic and positive, and I think that was the reason why he became so popular so quickly and was able to garner the support that he did around the country and around the world. But professionally, it is a very scary day for Americans today. It's a very scary day for those of us that have been advocates for free speech. Charlie Kirk was assassinated because of what he said, the words that came out of his mouth, not his actions, but his words. And I think that is very scary because you expect that. You hear of those stories in other countries, but to have it happen here in America today, it is a new dawn happening. It's new dawn in America, and it's not one that I don't think we ever wanted to face.
And Charlie Kirk was shot dead doing what he loved so very much, opening himself up to debate, standing in front of a crowd and asking people to join him in very difficult conversations. Tell us more about his movement and what he wanted to bring to the United States.
Well, let me tell you, when Charlie Kirk first started out, he was just this young guy, about 20 years old, that would walk up and down the political conventions, and he had his flyers, but he had this idea that the Republican Party was not paying attention to the youth in America, that they were just ignoring it. And so to whoever he could get an ear to, he would tell them, listen, the youth is going to be the future of our country. We need to focus on the issues that are important to them. That's what Charlie was doing. And he knew that having respectful dialogue, conversation, was the only way that we here in America was going to be able to continue to have freedoms. And he was famous for at the college campuses. And tomorrow, actually, I'm going to visit my son, his parents' weekend. And Charlie was just on that campus 6 months ago. And it's heartbreaking to think some of these same students today that were in his audience 6 months ago, obviously shed tears around America today, because what Charlie would do at these events is he would open it up for conversation and dialogue, not only at the event, but afterwards. But he was famous for saying, line up. And for those of you who have the most challenging, who don't agree with me, come to the front of the mic. I'm not afraid of you. Let's have this conversation. You tell me your idea, and then I'm going to tell you, and you tell me why you think I'm wrong, and then I'm going to respectfully show you why I think you're wrong about your position. And that's how he won the U.S. campuses one by one, and why he became such a stronghold within American politics.
Well, Scotty, this is what it comes down to, doesn't it? It's about free speech and a freedom to express your views and also, of course, respecting each other's views. And you mentioned, of course, the huge impact he's had on youth in the United States, millions of followers on various social media platforms. What has the reaction been from young people in America to this news, and how influential was he in terms of the way the youth voted in the election just gone?
Overwhelmingly. You have to understand, when Charlie Kirk was first coming out, we were having Rock the Vote being pushed by MTV. And a lot of those, and you could definitely tell it was not something that would in any way encourage people to look at conservative candidates or vote Republicans. Charlie Kirk was the answer to that. He made being conservative cool, and he continued that voice. And that ultimately is what helped in 2016 get Donald Trump elected. I mean, MAGA is not only just a political movement, it is a pop culture movement. When you have kids wearing signs, even my son today said, it was amazing, Mom. All of a sudden, all these MAGA hats appeared on my campus. My daughter's in high school. She said on Friday, there is a push here in the United States for kids to wear red in support of it. Everyone. This was just somebody that even if you didn't think your friend knew who Charlie Kirk was, they knew something about him. They knew of him. And he was a part of a pop culture movement of conservatism, not just something that was political.
And Scotty, of course, there's a human element to this story as well, isn't there? I mean, Charlie leaving behind a beautiful young family.
Absolutely. Erica, his young wife with his two beautiful children. And I think that's what's so hard. That makes it even more challenging. This was not only the first time that Americans had seen an assassination, a violent assassination, but it's, unfortunately, he was so young. We knew that there was so much promise. People had even rumored that Charlie Kirk was going to potentially be a president one day, and I could see that. And you could see that he had the moral and ethical characters to be president of the United States one day. So I think, this is definitely, if anything, though, I will say this. The flame that someone tried to put out today, I will tell you it's going to burn brighter, and it's going to definitely spread more than anybody could have ever guessed, because it's definitely wildfire that's catched on amongst his followers.